If you watch my channel and you've made it to this video, you're probably a very smart guy. As a dating coach for the last 20 years, I've been blessed to have an audience of high IQs and advanced degrees, all of which has served to show me that smart guys do a lot of really dumb things to sabotage their dating lives. So as I said at the top of this video, I'm going to show you 10 of the most common dumb mistakes guys make to sabotage their dating life. However, as you go through this list, there's one distinction I want you to have in mind. Some of these are what I call active and some are passive. Passive is where you're doing something bad and you're not correcting it. Active is when you are literally creating your own problem. The passive ones are maybe more common, but the active ones are more inexcusable. Please, please, please don't do those. The first boneheaded mistake that stops guys from having a successful sex life is simply not having condoms. Worst version of this is not having condoms anywhere. You get back to your place, you're right there about to make it happen. She says, "Do you have a condom?" And you're like, "No." And deal breaker. And now, okay, I guess we're just gonna cuddle. But even beyond not having it at your place, honestly, as a man, as an adult sexually active man, you should have condoms on you most of the time, especially when you go out. If you go out to a nightclub without a condom, you're an idiot. If you go out and do an active day game session where you plan on meeting girls without a condom, you're an idiot. But even beyond that, you have a wallet you carry with you most of the time that probably fits a condom in it. Just put one in there and leave it. And check, every few months and make sure it's not damaged, but keep a condom in your wallet, you'll be set. Oh, and pro tip, it's actually a good idea to have 2 condoms because sometimes you want to go multiple rounds. Sometimes you'll start and then, put it aside and, you have to get another condom out later when she's more ready. Different things like that. It's good to have 2 instead of 1, but at the very least, please at least have 1. Beyond the obvious that you can't have sex or at least safe sex without a condom, having a condom in your pocket says something to you. It says to you that you are a virile, sexually active man and that sex could happen. It says to you that, this could be a sexual scenario. Just putting the condom in your pocket says as you walk out the door, I'm a confident man. I think a girl might like me today. And that, even aside from the practical of having it there when you need it, is good for your psychology and will actively help you get laid. The next not so bright mating strategy is one I was actually reminded of recently on a call with my mentorship group. Somebody asked me, they said they want to invite a girl to this bar restaurant near them, but they don't want the girl to order dinner and make it a long drawn out thing and an expensive date. They want her to just order a drink. So how do I invite her to this restaurant and make sure that she just orders a drink? And I'm like, don't invite her to the restaurants. Invite her to a bar. If you want to have a drink with a girl, take her to a bar, not a restaurant. Don't invite her to the restaurant and tell her she can't eat. That just makes you look cheap and weird and have an agenda, right? Don't put yourself in that situation if you don't want to be in that situation. Now, this one actually is completely viable. You can invite a girl to a bar and not drink. You can have a seltzer water, have an orange juice, or have a virgin cocktail. It's not actually that big of a deal. But if it's going to be a big deal for you, just invite her for something else. Take her for a walk in the park. Take her for hot tea. I don't care. But if you're going to make a big deal about the not drinking thing, don't invite her to a bar and then not drink. Again, this is a problem of your own making. The next strategic blunder I want to address has to do with where you live. If you live here and the nearest place with hot girls is 100 miles over here or over there or down there, you have a problem. If there are not enough eligible girls near you, it's going to be hard to date an eligible girl. And logistics are a thing. It's hard to make a girl come an hour, 2 hours for a date. And it's a pain in the butt to go an hour or 2 hours out to meet them. So in practice, you probably just aren't gonna go. And also when you go those 2 hours to meet them and you don't have a place to stay potentially, that's also an issue, okay? So if you're actually committed to having a good active dating life, it would help to live somewhere where there are actual girls. So please don't live out in the middle of nowhere where there are no girls. This makes all of dating difficult. A subcategory of this, which isn't quite as bad, but is a thing, is there are definitely some cities that are better for dating than others, right? There are some cities where the weather is nice and the girls are hot and they don't wear a lot of clothes and they're pretty sexually open. There are other cities where it's cold. The girls wear a lot of clothes. Therefore, they don't watch their figures. They get overweight. And now they're not competing with any other attractive girls, and so they don't have to try as hard. And because they don't have to try as hard, the guys have fewer options, and now the mediocre girls are starting to be treating like they're hot, and now they have attitude. There are some cities that just suck for dating. Stay out of those cities. please. So to summarize this one, it's pretty simple. Logistics do matter. And if you want to date attractive, eligible girls, you better be in a place where there are, in fact, attractive, eligible girls. The next major blunder that I see all the time comes from online dating, and it has to do with putting deal breakers right up front in your profile. See, a lot of guys think it's like, oh, I just want to get this out of the way, or I want the girls to know this up front, or something along those lines. Or maybe they just feel awkward about saying it to a girl in person, so they just feel like, okay, well, I want it to be the case that if a girl's clicked on me, she already knows that, or something like that. But here's the thing, okay? Every other guy out there is showing all their best qualities. If you start showing your worst qualities, you're really handcuffing yourself. You're fighting with one hand behind your back or worse. And the simple result is you just won't get girls clicking on you. Once a girl likes you, once a girl's interacting with you, once she has decided that she wants to go on a date with you and she feels a certain way about you emotionally, then you can tell her a lot of things and she'll be okay with it. But when she doesn't know you and the first thing she sees is a logical deal breaker, she's just swiping left and not giving you a second chance, okay? So give yourself a chance. Give yourself an opportunity. It is almost always better to have a bigger dating pool and then you can pare it down from there instead of intentionally minimizing your dating pool right up front. That is just a dumb strategy. Please, please, please don't do it. The next error on this list is one of the most common and most damaging, and it's this: having horrible style and fashion, okay? And this comes in two categories. One is the lazy category and the other is the outright stupid category. The lazy category is just not bothering, right? Not bothering to figure out what is good clothes, not bothering to spend a little bit of extra money. And this is already fairly inexcusable because the amount of return you get on a little investment in your wardrobe or a little bit of time investment in keeping your clothes nice or buying new clothes occasionally, you get such a huge return. Okay, so take the time, work on your fashion. It is one of the biggest magnifiers and multipliers in game. If when you walk up to a girl, you get an instantaneous positive response instead of a neutral or negative one, that changes everything that comes later. So please work on your fashion, don't be lazy. However, there's another level of this that's even worse that I see from a lot of guys, and that is where they get indignant about their fashion. They say, oh, I shouldn't have to change. I shouldn't have to change who I am to attract a girl. I shouldn't have to wear a certain type of clothes. She should just like me for me. No, she shouldn't, because she doesn't know you yet. She hasn't met you yet. She goes off of honest signals that she sees in guys, and she has to assess instantly, is this the type of guy I would date? And she has to go off of the cues she's seen in her whole life. And if you want to insist on giving her the worst possible first impression, it's not her fault when she follows the first impression you've given her. She can't like you for you until she's met you. It is possible that if you were able to somehow fast forward and get her attention and have her meet you and know you for a year, yes, in that case, maybe you could dress like a schlub and still keep her. But when you first met her, she has no way of knowing that. You can't expect that. You cannot be entitled to show a girl your worst and expect her to treat you like you're at your best. Come on, man. By the way, while I'm speaking about fashion, dressing poorly doesn't just make you physically look worse, it makes you look like you don't get it. It makes you look like you don't fit in with cool people. It makes you look like you don't have cool friends. It actually is not just passively not saying a good thing about you, it's actively saying a bad thing about you when you dress badly. The next dating Darwin Award winner I want to talk about is trying to define the relationship before there is a relationship. A lot of guys are so caught up in the idea that they want an open relationship, or they want to date multiple girls, or they want to have a certain type of relationship. They try and bring that up in this heavy-handed, this is what I need manner on the first date, or on the first time they're meeting a girl. Again, this is very much fighting with one hand behind your back, right? The girl's just getting to know you. She hasn't even decided if she wants any kind of relationship with you, and you're already saying, I want this relationship that may not be what you've been told, for your whole life is the storybook ideal, and a relationship that your friends may judge you for, and a relationship that you may not have ever considered before. Why on earth are you making things so difficult for yourself up front? And here's the thing, the longer you know a girl, the more she likes you, the more she's invested in you, the more opportunity you have to define and control how the relationship goes. But right up front, when she doesn't know anything about you, you are just almost the next average guy off the street. And if she's talking about the next average guy off the street, she probably doesn't even sleep with him, doesn't get into a relationship with him, but certainly isn't thinking about having a unique and different relationship that she's never had and may not even be 100% comfortable with him. So if you want any kind of relationship, just attract the girl first, have her like you, and then you can figure out the relationship. And this applies double, triple, quadruple if you want some kind of unusual relationship relationship. If you're into a particular fetish, or you want an open relationship, or you want to be swingers or some shit like that, don't bring that up on the first date before you've ever slept with a girl, before you've ever even kissed the girl. The next dating facepalm stems from a question I get asked all the time, which is essentially, how do I bring up X topic on the first date? And X topic being something like religion or politics or my ex, some controversial topic like that. How do I talk about religion on the first date? How do I talk about politics on the first date? How do I talk about my ex on the first date? And the answer to all these questions is you don't. Do not. Stay away from those topics. Those are deal breaker topics. Those are the kind of topics that if you happen to match with a girl or get it just right, you may make a tiny bit of positive progress, and there's a huge chance that you won't be compatible and it'll be a really stark negative, either in terms of the girl logically deciding she doesn't want anything to do with you, or if not that, then just bringing down the mood of the entire date, making it non-sexual, making it the wrong type of interaction. Stay very, very clear of these topics. Even if the girl brings these topics up, try to address them as briefly as possible and get off of them. Only deal with these if you absolutely must. So if you're ever asking me, how do I bring up these topics on the date? My answer to you is unask the question. Stay far away. The next one on this list is an absolute disaster, and it's this: residing in a place where you are not actually even allowed to bring girls back. The most common version of this that I hear is guys still living with their parents or living in a roommate situation where they can't bring girls back. And this one I sort of get a little bit, because maybe you're doing it for a financial reason, or maybe there's another, thing motivating you. But please, as soon as you physically are able to, get into a place where you can bring girls back. The more boneheaded but usually more temporary version of this one, though, is when you stay in a place on vacation that doesn't allow you to bring girls back, especially if it's a vacation where you intend to be social and meet girls. I've seen so many guys go on vacation, stay in some hostel that has a rule of no guests and someone at the door that monitors anyone who comes in the door. Good luck pulling a girl when that's the situation. That really sucks. And there are even hotels and Airbnbs that are not hostels where this is the case. Talk about trying to have a fun vacation, trying to go meet some girls, and really getting derailed right at the start. Check into this stuff. It's a little thing, but it makes a huge difference to your results. The next dumb item on this list, on its surface, may be one of those, oh my God, does anybody actually think that kind of items? But it actually reflects a deeper pattern that I see over and over and over again all throughout games, so stick with me on it, okay? I get guys a lot with online dating. They actually ask me the question, is it possible that my photos could be too good and then the girl will be disappointed when she meets me in person? Yes, guys actually ask this. And the answer obviously is, make your photos as good as possible, get the girl on the date, and then if she's gonna be disappointed on the date, at least you got the girl on the date to be disappointed. At least you got more girls to meet you in person, and therefore you have a chance to charm them, a chance to meet them, etc. But I think a lot of guys have this hang up where they want the girl to know everything about them and accept them in advance because they're very worried about the possibility down the road of something being negative. They want to tell the girl all the negative things about them, or they want to give the girl a very moderate first impression so that they don't possibly ever have a negative emotion at any point. In dating, your goal is not to avoid a negative emotion. In dating, your goal is not to avoid ever having an awkward interaction. Your goal in dating is to win. Your goal in dating is to succeed. So in all areas, put your best foot forward. Get to the next step. Have the girl show up and you can deal with it from there. Don't try to put a lot of restrictions on the girl showing up so that the later parts of game will be smoother. Ironically, if you do that, even the later parts of game will be less smooth because things actually get smooth when the girl has a better impression of you, not when she has already accepted your flaws. The final absolute dating blunder on this list might at first seem like the least dumb on its surface, but it's actually the most damaging of all of them because it pervades everything. And that is the idea that you'll get started later. The idea that, oh, okay, I'll get started once I get this new job, or I'll get started once I move to this new city, or I'll mark a date on a calendar a year from now for when I'm gonna get started in game. Every single time I hear a guy say that, I look at him and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, this is a guy that's not gonna do it. And oftentimes I try and persuade him and convince him, like, no, I got it, I'll do it. I'm like, all right, buddy, not happening. All right. Typically in life, later equals never. If you're not motivated enough to do it now, if you're not making a plan to do it now, you're not going to do it later. If you're planning on doing it when you get that new job, you're going to get to that new job, you're going to get really busy, and then you're going to plan on doing it when you get less busy from that new job and it's under control. And then you're going to do it when you get the next promotion, etc., etc. You're going to do it when you get in shape, when you lose 10 pounds. You're going to look in the mirror 10 pounds later and be like, oh, I still have a little more to lose. You're not going to get to it later. The time is now. And beyond that, working on your game will actually help you in all these other areas. Working on your game will give you more motivation to get in shape. Working on your game will give you more motivation to get a better job and attract more girls. Working on your game will help you with your social skills and your networking and give you more opportunities. This is too important not to do, and therefore, this is too important to wait on. Please, please, please don't be the guy that puts it off and puts it off and puts it off, and then 20 years later wonders what if. The best time to have started a game is 10 years ago. However, you can't control that. The best time to start now is now. Okay, so that's my list of the most common, most damaging dating flubs that I see. If you're making one of these, let me know below. Also, if there's something I left off the list that really should be on it, let me know that in the comments as well. With that said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.